Hey there, guys. So, a common question I get, in relation to front squat is why do I front squat as opposed to, traditional squats? There's a few main reasons, and I'll go through them all. So, one of them is, just fatigue levels and how it impacts my nervous system, or should I say, the lack of CNS fatigue I get with, front squats compared to traditional squats. Now, with front squats, and especially the way that I do them, you'll notice that I'm not holding the bar. So, as soon as my chest starts to, lean forward and my core, gives out, I lose the bar. In a way, that's sort of like a built-in safety mechanism. It means I can't, grind out the reps. One that's going to help protect the lower back simply because I'll lose the bar. I don't get put into a position of spinal flexion where my lower back is going to be in an area where it could get hurt. I just lose the bar. So yeah, built-in safety mechanism. The second one then, if I'm going to lose the bar forward, it means that I'm not exerting myself to the point where it really is heavily demanding on a CNS level. I just can't grind out the reps. I lose the bar. So for me with front squats, I'm trying my hardest to keep my chest upright. When I start to fail, and I try and raise my elbows up a little bit, or my hands, whatever you want to call that point. I'm just trying to keep my upper body up. And when your core gives out, there's only so much you can do. So it's sort of like I'm working the target tissues to develop my squat, being for me, my weak links are my abs. They're not my legs. So, yeah, it comes down to also what you're trying to achieve. For me, I'm front squatting to increase my back squat. Um, Simply because when I'm back squatting at the moment, and I've got knee wraps on and everything else, and I'm squatting out of a monolift, the weight on my back is to the point now, because best I've done in comp is 365 kilos. It's got to the point where for me, just standing up under the weight and just standing is the hard part because my core isn't strong enough. Like, I'm 110 kilos. It's not as if I'm, someone who's, 140, 150 kilos and has additional mass to help with bracing. It's just, I'm not. Um, so yeah, my core is giving out. So that's why I've also opted for the front squats. It hits my core really quite hard, and that in turn is my weak link. If you also look from an anatomical standpoint, you look at the muscles you have, in your core and your spinal erectors. There's not a heap of muscle mass compared to your quads, hamstrings, and glutes. So it's for me, it's hard to wrap my head around the idea that my legs would fail considering there is so much muscle mass. When it's on a front squat, yeah, I can keep my chest, upright and squat down and pause, and get a lot more quad activation, which might be more taxing on the quads from, a squat standpoint. But when it comes to a competition back squat, I'm sitting back and my torso angle changes. I'm leaning forward, and that, leaning forward, the thing that is going to give out is going to be my lower back and core. It's just, it cannot compete with that of my legs. So for me, if I drive my front squat up, I increase my back squat, and, I do it in a way that's not overly taxing. Um, I remember last comp prep, the successful one where I squatted 365. The heaviest I could front squat was still 180 kilos, but I could only get 5 reps. Now I can get 8. And it took me 6 weeks to go from front squatting into back squatting. And week 7 was comp, and I squatted 365. So, the muscle mass is obviously there, and it's just learning the movement pattern again. A few weeks out from comp, you bring up your squat frequency, make sure the motor pattern is there. And yeah, you're set to go. So for me, front squat, I'm choosing it because it's helping me develop my back squat, and I'm also able to grow, my quads quite well. That's a secondary bonus from it. But the primary one was it just works my core and lower back, isometrically, especially my lower back, in a way that's going to be, have good carryover onto my traditional squat. I could go on for a fair bit more. This was just like the last few sessions that I've, stitched together. I'll probably do another video. Well, I'll certainly do another video and explain a bit more when it comes to programming and what the end goal is. But until then, if you have any questions, drop them below. If you can help, just hit like and share. Otherwise, have a great day wherever you are.